Hi, and hopefully welcome back to most of you. We are on day 2 of our road trip from vulnerable to victorious, the journey of a survivor of human trafficking. Yesterday, we covered prevention and what we could do to keep them off the road altogether. But if that didn't work, then now we are on the community opportunity to intercept and disrupt the road so it can be at least shorter. I'm Brenda Wells, and I am the founder and executive director of the I-5 Freedom Network. We work with businesses and community groups to disrupt the cycle of human trafficking. And I have with me today Whisper James, who is a new board member and a new member of our team that I'm really honored and excited to have with me today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And as Brenda said, I'm Whisper James, and I am really honored to be a part of I-5 Freedom Network. Human trafficking prevention and solutions is a huge passion of mine. I'm also a member of a survivor leadership group. So I'm excited to join the conversation today.
Yeah. So today is the Community Awareness Day and how the community can play a part in supporting or perpetuating the problem. We talked a little bit yesterday about how it doesn't look like the Hollywood versions. We are not dealing with children who are being thrown in vans, that people get into trafficking by people they know and by people they trust or they believe who had their best interests in mind. So that is to say that these individuals are walking around us all the time. They're not locked in basements. They are engaging with community at all different places, churches, schools, first responders, urgent care. So Whisper, let's talk about what are the things that a community member can do to provide the support they need to get away from their trafficker.
Yes, absolutely. And in our work, that is a question that we get asked often is like, what can I do? The problem may sometimes seem overwhelming, but there's absolutely something that we all can do. And as we mentioned in yesterday's conversation, there is a slightly ironic solution to what we can do, and that is to use some of the similar tactics that a perpetrator or of human trafficking does, which is showing the people acceptance, showing the young people in your life that you're concerned about or that you see, show them that you're somebody that they can come to, that you can talk about anything with them, because it's so much the isolation and distancing that a person might feel once they're actually caught in the life.
Yeah.
There is a misconception, I think, sometimes of like that there's nothing that we can do. And so it's easy to just like want to jump right away into calling the authorities or what it might be. But that's not always the best thing, because sometimes the victim is going to want to want to leave because there's fear and problems associated with that. So
Yeah,
one of the first steps is going to be to reach out to some of the organizations or groups in your area that might be somebody that can give you some resources to work with.
yeah. And so, like, as you said, one of the things that we can do is build trust. The worst thing you can do would be to make them feel badly about the choices that they've made, or in any way insult or challenge the person they've decided is their saving grace. So insulting their trafficker or criticizing somebody that they've now listening to will only pull them farther away from you. So we want to find a way to build trust and give them that space to make some options, some choices. So community members like school. So I remember a story that happened in San Diego County a couple of years ago, where some gang members were recruiting middle schoolers and high schoolers right out of the school. And they were then going back to school, and the teachers, as a member of the community, started noticing some really unusual things, that these group of students or these individual young people were being not as present in school. They were sleeping during the day. They had all kinds of expensive accessories and things like that. And they were also showing signs of abuse. This teacher saw this is unusual. They were able to connect with the authorities which ended up breaking up this big gang sex trafficking ring called the Enterprise, if anybody wants to research it. So that's an example how a community member made a significant, brave call to get these people to the right services to get them away. Other things like just, again, building trust and connecting with them on an emotional level will help the community get them off the road of trafficking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are things that a community member might do that might not be helpful?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, certainly uh, having, presenting them with any type of condemnation, or even sometimes like a quick solution to what they're stuck in. Why don't you just do this?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a very complex situation in most cases, and you don't want to do something that's going to like pull them even farther away from you. So as we talked about, building trust, but and also like sometimes it's going to take some time
Hmm.
before they're starting to trust you to the point that they can come and talk to you and ask for solutions.
Yeah.
So certainly, the condemnation, or any type of reaction like that can be, can actually make things worse.
I definitely like the tip to not offer a quick solution. Why don't you just leave them? Because it's complicated. If you can wrap your
Absolutely.
mind around domestic violence and why a spouse won't leave their abuser or a child still seeks the approval of their abuser, then you can understand the psychological warfare at play here as well. Just some things to do. If you think a minor is actually in danger,
Absolutely.
the tip is to call 911 if you think they're in danger. Now, that's if their physical health or something like that. But otherwise, it becomes an indicator. And at which point, it's hard to know what to do. If you feel like a child is in an environment that's unsafe, then Child Protective Services might be the right call. And
Hmm.
don't be discouraged. Sometimes a thing that a call might not result in something or an action that day, but the case has been opened and a red flag has been raised. So that's okay to do. Calling 911 for an indicator leads to a lot of frustration because unless the police, unless there's a crime in progress, there's oftentimes nothing the police can do. And so knowing who the anti-trafficking organizations are in your community, is there a task force? Is there a survivor leader group like the one you're connected with that then can give good advice to these individuals or to the community member looking for insights? That's your best next course of action.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also, to your point, not to get deterred, um, sometimes it's easy for us to dismiss our gut feelings about things. So if you do, as a community member, start seeing something that's, just not sitting right with you,
Mhm.
um, don't always dismiss that. You don't have, not necessarily expressing at that time, but once those little indicators start popping up, you'll start seeing other ones too. So that's a really important thing, is
Mhm.
just to keep your eye out. Once you've seen something happen, like, take a look at what else might be going on. So that's really important.
Yeah, and one of the things that the I-5 does is we provide community awareness training where we will come to your group or your organization, your club, your church, your Rotary group, whatever it is, and we will provide you with some uh, indicators to look for and some ways to respond, answer your questions, and dispel, again, some of those misconceptions that this is not a Hollywood story. This is much more present in our everyday lives than we would ever possibly imagine. Right. So that's day 2 of our road trip. Tomorrow, we're going to come back and talk about how hotels play a significant role in fighting human trafficking and not being a place where the activity can continue to perpetuate. All right.
Yes.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.